Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Today we'll be talking about this year's Common Reader. My guest today is Elaine Bassett with the Writing Center at Troy University. And welcome to Trojan Talk today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
And we're talking about this year's Common Reader.
Yes.
Before we get into the book and what it's about, let's talk a little about the Common Reader and what it means to Troy University.
The Common Reader actually came out of our QEP, our Quality Enhancement Program accreditation, but it's an element that has stayed with us. What we do is each year choose one book that all of our incoming students will be reading, and then we have all kinds of discussion to talk about the book, and it's discussed in lots of different subject areas, so that the students first have a sense of community with it, but also because the university realizes the importance of reading to education, we try to pull a book in that we think will engage students and that they will read and get engaged in, and then to apply a lot of the concepts they're going to read about in the book.
And in reference to the Common Reader, you hear a lot about creating of reading and Hal Fulmer, that's one of his favorite terms he throws around.
Yes.
But it's important to get these students to start reading and know how important it is, right?
Well, it is very important. Reading is the door to the world. That's how you can find about anything. So we want to hook students when they come in, just to let them know how important it is to their education. Can't travel to Spain, the next best thing is reading about it. If you can't, go back lots of worlds, and we want our students to become engaged in that.
And of course, different genres as well. And this is the book we're going to talk about may open their eyes to a different genre. Students who are used to reading fiction books, we have a nonfiction work to share. Let's talk about the book and talk about how that's going to fit in. So.
This year's book is a memoir, and it is it's a topic that. That's very relevant today, and I hate to even have to admit that, but it's called A Long Way Gone, Memoirs of a Boy Soldier.
Okay.
And this is the story of a young man from Sierra Leone. When he was 12, his village was destroyed by rebels, and he then was on his own. He lost all his home, lost everything at 12. He wanders with some of his friends for about a year, going from village to village, burned out village to burned out village, just trying to live. And then when he's 13, he is drafted, you might say, in the government military at 13, and spends 2 years fighting the rebels. And I think this is a child. And the things he has to do, part of the book is very difficult to read because we're seeing what war is like through a 13-year-old's eyes. The one thing that makes this particular book and this author, for me, so impressive is that he never loses hope in this book. And, doesn't spoil the ending, but he is eventually rescued by UNICEF and is rehabilitated, and they find family for him to live with. He eventually is able to come to New York and speak to the United Nations about what could be done about the child soldiers in his country, and to make them aware of just how prevalent the practice is of using children in military.
And as I said, open their eyes to maybe a genre that they're not used to, but it seems like it's going to open maybe some students' eyes to a problem that they may not be aware of.
Yes, in fact, I consider myself fairly well read, but I was not as familiar with the situation, particular problem, until I read this. And now I've just, read everything I could get my hands on. Where is this all taking place? What can we do about it? What steps are being taken? And as a matter of fact, the author, Ishmael Bea, works still as an activist to eliminate the practice of using children in military. And so he is still involved. He lives in the United States now, goes college education in the United States. Very bright young man, very articulate and intelligent. But as I said, he's so full of hope and positive thought And I think that's what saves him in this book.
And I think the book and this topic most definitely should help spur some discussions cross curriculum curricula here at the university. And here's hoping that the students coming in pick up, read, and enjoy this book and help that culture of reading Troy University is trying to establish. Well,
absolutely.
Thank you for coming and talking to us about the book
pleasure.
today. And thank you. And hopefully students will enjoy it and get a chance to read about something new and something different. Thanks for joining me today.
This will open your eyes. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk.